there is at the heart of all of these projects, including in resources, provincial jurisdiction, including resources, where the federal government is catalyzing, helping to make the project happen through a tax incentive, through some other support, regulatory or other support. And at the core, there is a commercial business, a commercial project that is making a profit. It is fair, right, just, smart for Canadians to have a share directly of those profits. And that's what the fund is going to make possible. And this is a great thing for Canadians today and very much tomorrow, because it's going to spread the benefit over time.
Next question. Question question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Jillian Piper with Global News. Is asking Canadians to invest in these projects an admission that we don't have a good enough business climate for the private sector to step up and finance major projects?
Absolutely not. It's the exact opposite. We have a great climate. We have a great business climate, and it's getting better every day, and this government's committed to make sure that it continues to improve for business investment. You only have to look, and again, I won't front-run my finance minister, but I would suggest a careful study during that 5-hour lockup tomorrow, if you're going to attend, of the update. Will detail just the scale to which foreign direct investment has increased in Canada, how it's outpacing all other major economies right now. We intend to that continue. And so the question is, the capital is there, the interest is there. Yes, certain things have to be done for each project to get them move forward. And the question we asked ourselves, as the government of Canada, is as all that capital comes in from abroad or is invested from domestically, why shouldn't Canadians invest alongside, not with preferential treatment, not with different things, but alongside the private sector and get the same reserves so that Canadians themselves, but our kids and our grandkids benefit from this transformation of the economy. That's what we're doing. So capital, foreign investment, we can always get better. This is not the issue we have. Making sure that this transformation benefits as many Canadians, all Canadians, that's what we're focused on, and that's what this is going to help to do.
Follow up.
Thank you. And will this fund only be able to invest in projects that your government has deemed are in the national interest?
We'll consult. I don't think that it will be that restricted, but it will be a focus on investing in Canada.
Next question.
Investing in Canada, so it doesn't have to be, your question, I'm going to interpret it even more specifically, which is under the Build Canada Act. There are certain requirements for projects of national interest, a designation and others, so it wouldn't be restricted to that in my judgment. We'll consult on the specifics of that. So it's a broader range than would be just specifically C5 to be specific national interest projects.
Next question. Kate.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Kate McKenna, CBC News. Just to follow up on my colleague's question, it sounds like this fund will be for Canadian investments. I believe that puts it at odds with other similar funds around the world. Could you explain why you made that?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is partly we're taking lessons from our history, which is that a lot of wealth has been created in these transformative projects, including catalyzed and supported by government action. That's appropriate because of the broader economic benefits, but also it creates an opportunity to invest alongside for Canadians and spread that wealth over time. That's the first thing. Secondly, we take a lesson from other jurisdictions that had the foresight many decades ago to start sovereign wealth funds and benefit from their broader resources. The third thing is, and in some cases, they began with a domestic focus, then outgrew the scale of the domestic focus. You can think of Temasek in Singapore would be an example of that. You hear this and you're going to continue to hear this, and this is one of the demonstrations of it. We're focused on generational investments, on a scale not seen for generations, a huge range of that. It creates a tremendous opportunity for the country. And this is one way, there are many others, but it's one way that we can ensure that all Canadians benefit from what's happening, including today, but very much tomorrow in terms of the next generations to come, younger Canadians. This, in many respects, is a fund in terms of the ultimate impact will be felt by younger Canadians and their kids.
Follow up.
Could you elaborate a little bit about why the deficit is said to be less than was projected?
Because we're good fiscal managers. I mean, and that's not like the Minister of Finance, myself, the government, the cabinet, we focus on the numbers. And we were determined to get spending down with a lot of very difficult, my colleagues have participated in some of these decisions, difficult decisions. You can't do everything at the same time. The Minister of National Defense is here, and we have a need to build up and to secure Canada, so we're making decisions in order to create room for that. We're making decisions. The question earlier about affordability, you will see that the decisions we make, a very large number of them, proportion of them, are to address the affordability challenges that Canadians are facing today. But in order for the numbers to be better, you have to be on top of them, and we're on top of them.
Next question, question Kissing.
Sarah Ritchie with the Canadian Press. Can you help us understand how this is going to be in its goals different from the Canada Infrastructure Bank that was launched under the previous government, and why you need an entirely new agency to do what you're doing?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question, because it's a crucial one. So the Canadian Infrastructure Bank, I mean, I'll start, there's multiple levels of this, but the Canadian Infrastructure Bank provides debt. It lends, and in lending, it helps make projects possible. And it does, and this is an effective institution. It's got real traction, and we'll see the Canada Infrastructure Bank increasingly involved in a series of financings. I'm leaning a bit on Contrecoeur, but I'll use another. They lent $1 billion something into Contrecoeur. There's lots of other examples of that. So, but that's debt. And when you invest, when you lend money, you hope to get it paid back, and then you move on. That's what the Canada Infrastructure Bank does. You don't get the returns that the underlying business or project gets, the equity returns, the returns to the owner, which are substantially, if it's well run, substantially higher than the returns for debt. That's what this does. This comes in on a commercial basis. It gets those returns alongside the private sector, and it will spread the benefits of those returns over a much longer horizon. It's good to have the Canada Infrastructure Bank. It's good to have Export Development Canada, which helps with export finance, BDC, which helps for small, medium-sized enterprises. But all of those entities are helping underlying businesses at the core to move forward. And what we're doing is getting returns because we're helping them, getting returns alongside them.
Follow up.
Between this initiative you're announcing today, the Infrastructure Bank, the Major Projects Office, is your government getting too involved in picking winners